Before the sound, there is a moment of profound stillness. The air goes still. In the labyrinthine calle, the narrow streets of Venice, the morning light paints stripes of gold on ancient stone, and for a fleeting instant, the city feels suspended in time, a perfect preserved memory. It's a quiet that feels ancient, a silence that has settled in these same alleyways for 1,000 years, holding the echoes of footsteps, whispers, and the distant lap of water. This is the Venice of postcards and dreams, a city seemingly at peace with itself and the lagoon that cradles it. But this tranquility is a fragile illusion, a breath held before the plunge. It's in these moments of quiet that the city's vulnerability is most palpable, a sleeping beauty, unaware of the encroaching tide. Then it begins. A low, mournful sound crawls across the lagoon, a vibration you feel in your bones before you fully register it with your ears. It's a sound that seems to rise from the very depths of the Adriatic, carrying with it the chill of the open sea and the weight of history. It snakes through the fog, echoes off the marble facades of slumbering palazzos, and finds its way into the heart of the city. This is the siren's wail, a sound broadcast from weathered speakers perched atop the city's rooftops, their metal skins corroded by the same salty air that carries their warning. It's a lament, a mechanical cry that carries on the damp wind, a sound that has become the city's unofficial anthem. For the uninitiated, the sound might spark a primal fear. In any other city, this would be a signal of imminent danger, a call to take shelter from some external threat. But here, the sky is clear. There is no smoke, no sign of fire or attack. The threat is not from above, but from below. It's a warning of water. The siren doesn't just signal a single event, it speaks a complex language. A single, long blast is a simple alert, but then a series of shorter tones follows, each one corresponding to a predicted height of the tide, a precise forecast of how many centimeters the sea will rise. One tone for 110 centimeters, two for 120, and so on. It is a countdown, a precise, calculated measure of the city's daily inundation. In the ancient alleyways and grand piazzas of Venice, this sound is the city holding its breath. It is the signal that transforms this living museum into a fortress on high alert. The rhythm of life, once dictated by church bells and market days, now marches to the mournful tune of the tide siren. The tide is coming. The phenomenon has a name: Acqua Alta. High water, a term that is both poetic and deceptively simple for such a complex and destructive force. The sea, a vast, powerful entity, is making its daily pilgrimage into the heart of the lagoon. The very element that birthed this impossible place, that served as its moat and its highway to riches, is rising to reclaim it. This is the paradox of Venice. Its greatest protector has become its most relentless adversary. The water that once defended it from invaders now invades it from within, seeping into its foundations, its homes, its very soul. The siren's call triggers a well-rehearsed, almost ritualistic dance of preparation. Shopkeepers rush to bolt heavy steel plates, known as parati, across their doorways. It's a race against the clock, a frantic ballet of clanging metal and hurried movements. Every minute counts. Residents on the ground floors, the piani terra, move their valuables to higher shelves. Furniture is hoisted onto blocks, rugs are rolled up, and precious possessions are secured. For them, the value of an object is measured not just in money, but in its height from the floor. This isn't a once-a-year emergency. For many, it's a weekly, sometimes daily, reality. A life lived in constant, low-grade anxiety. The water is coming, not with the sudden violence of a tsunami, not with the roaring fury of a hurricane storm surge. It arrives with a slow, silent, and inexorable creep. It's a quiet invasion. Water seeps up through the ancient paving stones of St. Mark's Square, turning it into a vast, shimmering lake. It climbs the marble steps of churches, licking at the bases of priceless statues. It is a patient, persistent siege, and the city is losing ground, millimeter by millimeter. This is the sound of a beautiful dream on the verge of becoming a nightmare. The reflection of a 15th century palazzo in the floodwaters is breathtakingly beautiful, a surreal, painterly image. But the beauty masks a corrosive truth. The salt water is poison. This is the daily reality of a city caught between its glorious past and a deeply uncertain future. A city that must constantly negotiate its own existence, balancing the preservation of its unparalleled heritage with the relentless pressures of a changing planet. The stakes are etched into every salt-stained brick. The salt from the seawater crystallizes inside the porous brick and stone, expanding and turning the very foundations of the city to dust. It's a slow, insidious cancer eating away at the city from within, and they are carved into every weathered stone step that disappears into the green canal water. Each step a marker of a world that is slowly being submerged, a testament to a sea level that only moves in one direction, up. Venice is a masterpiece of human ingenuity, a floating treasure chest of art, built on a foundation of millions of submerged wooden piles driven into the mud of the lagoon. It is an engineering marvel, a testament to the audacity of its founders who dared to build a city on water. It is a repository of history, where every stone tells a story of maritime empire, of trade, of Marco Polo, Titian, and Vivaldi. And it is a vibrant center of culture, a living city, not just a museum piece. It is a city that logic says should not exist, yet it has thrived for over 1,000 years, defying gravity, the sea, and the odds. It has survived plagues, empires, and the ravages of time. Now that long, magnificent story is threatened. The very defiance that defines Venice is being tested as never before. The city is sinking, a process called subsidence, even as the sea around it rises. It's a double threat, a pincer movement of geology and climate change. The forces of nature, the powerful Sirocco wind from the southeast that funnels water into the lagoon, the gravitational pull of the moon, are amplified by our own actions. A warming planet means melting glaciers and thermal expansion of the oceans. Sea levels are rising globally, but in this fragile, low-lying basin, the effects are magnified and accelerated. The siren song is a constant, haunting reminder that time is running out. It is the sound of a global crisis made local, a climate change alarm bell that rings with terrifying regularity. It is a call to attention, a plea from the city itself, a plea to its own people, to its country, and to the world, to not look away. The tension in the air is palpable, a mixture of weary resignation, a deep-seated fatigue from fighting the same battle day after day, and a fierce, stubborn determination. The same spirit that built a republic on a swamp is not one to surrender easily. There is a pride here, a resilience born of centuries of adaptation. The world watches, holding its collective breath, as this jewel of civilization fights for its life. Venice belongs not just to Venetians or to Italy, but to all of humanity. It is a shared heritage, and its potential loss is a loss for everyone. We see the images of tourists wading through St. Mark's Square, their cameras held high, capturing the spectacle of a city drowning in its own beauty. For many, the Acqua Alta is a novelty, an unexpected adventure, a unique photo opportunity. The flooded city becomes a surreal playground. But for the Venetians who call this place home, this is not a spectacle. It is not romantic. It is a disruption, a financial burden, and a source of constant stress. It means damaged goods, ruined homes, and a city that is becoming increasingly difficult to live in. It is a slow-motion crisis, a constant battle against an enemy that cannot be defeated, only held at bay. A battle fought with pumps, with steel barriers, with raised walkways, and with an endless, exhausting cycle of cleanup and repair. The question is no longer if Venice will face its greatest challenge, but how. How does a city built in the Middle Ages survive the climate of the 21st century? How do you save a city that is, by its very nature, surrendering to the sea? Do you armor it with massive seawalls, cutting it off from the lagoon that is its lifeblood? Do you raise the city, an undertaking of unimaginable scale and cost? Or do you accept the inevitable and simply manage the decline? The urgency is not an abstract concept for some distant future. It is here and now. It is in the water seeping under the door. It is in the frantic calculations of shopkeepers and the worried conversations of residents. It is in the crumbling mortar of a centuries-old palazzo, a silent testament to a battle being waged at a microscopic level. This is a story about water, but it is also a story about time. The time that has passed, which has gifted us this incredible city, and the time that is left, which is running out with every tide. The siren wails on, a mournful, urgent question hanging in the salty air. Can we answer its call before the music stops and the city of dreams is lost forever beneath the waves?